Hey, how's it going YouTube? Tyre here, and today's video I'm just going to give you a couple of tips on how you can better shoot your videos and also how you can break down a script. So let's get started. Okay, so as you can see on the screen there's a grid. Your camera on your phone should have this, and also your camera in general should have this, depending on what kind of phone and camera you have, but most of them have this grid, and this is a good focus point for you. Until you kind of just don't need it, but it's always good to have because it just evens things out really nicely. So if my focus is the blanket, for example, as you can see, I've only got about half the blanket right now. So if I were to shift it a bit, now you can see the blanket is more in focus. If I keep going, there's the blanket again, but you can see it's still kind of off. So if I shift my camera over a bit, move it over a bit, now it's kind of more centered, and then of course you can adjust it however you would like. But generally you want to keep it pretty centered, depending on what kind of shot you're doing. So this little grid is good because it centers things out, and then when you go to record something, it's right in frame. And of course you don't want too much space of what's not in the shot because it just looks kind of awkward. Like if the pillow is not in the shot, for instance, then there's really no reason, unless you're using it for the scene, there's really no reason for the pillow to even be in the scene. So I can completely just shift this if I wanted to. And then as you can see, I'm more focused on the blanket now. And the pillow is still in the shot, but it looks better because it's more proportioned. And yeah, so you can use this grid to your advantage, center it to the best of your ability, and then you'll see when you record a video that it kind of helps with centering things out. Just as if you were to take a picture of something, it's the same kind of idea. Okay, so now that we've covered that, I'm just going to tell you how I break down a script from various classes that I've learned and also through my own experience. So the best way to do it, from what I've seen from personal experience and from what people have taught me, is to take the script that you have and to look at what the character's motives are. So if one character has the motive to convince the other character that they should go to a party with them, then that is their motive for the scene, and they are going to try and convince the other character why they should go to that party. And if the other character's motive is why they shouldn't go to the party, then they're going to try and convince the other character why they don't want to go and why they shouldn't go. And this is really helpful for any script that you may have, because if you don't really do this, you can still be successful, but it's definitely something that helps a lot. And I'm speaking also from personal experience because I've made mistakes early on, and I'm still learning, of course, but it's just something that is very helpful. And also just defining the emotions and reactions that each character has. So whether you're doing it on your own like I do, or whether you have other characters, it's good to define what the emotions and reactions will be. How does the person feel? How does that line of dialogue make them feel? How does their line of dialogue make them feel? How does the entire environment make them feel? Things like that are very important for any scene. So yeah. Other than that, everything's pretty straightforward. Of course, you always want to have patience. If you're rushing things, then it's not really gonna be very interesting unless it's necessary. Like if you have a scene where it makes sense to rush something, like you're in a hurry, you gotta leave, then yeah, it makes sense, but you don't want to rush any of your lines. It's always good to be patient with everything and just define everything. If you have your script, take notes, like write down what each character is feeling, write down their expressions, write down the obvious things in brackets and stuff like that. You can go online and you can look at scripts, and I'll leave links in the description. You can just kind of see how people do it. from the writer's perspective. That's how I sort of understand it a little bit better, because I've read scripts and I've read different plays and things like that, so I know kind of how to prepare a scene, if that makes sense. So yeah, I hope this helps to anyone who maybe is a new filmmaker or just needs some quick tips. That's pretty much it. Stay tuned for more videos.